Hello, hello! This time I will be covering a ship that has been requested multiple times, the Loyang. Now, at first glance, the ship honestly, in every possible way, seems like a worse Benson. It's very hard to argue that it isn't. It loses out on guns, it loses out on HP, it loses out on a variety of different parameters. Even the torps aren't as good as the upgraded torps on the Benson. Basically, it's a worse Benson in almost every single way, which I actually kind of like, because on the other hand, it has something no other DD in the game has. It has hydroacoustic search. Not the insane German one, but the basic American Japanese bog standard one. But on a DD, it really is a huge deal to be able to have this, because it allows you to make so many plays that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do in a DD. Now, I actually kind of like this. A lot of people on forums or on Reddit and such have been arguing that the Benson and other destroyers should also get hydroacoustic. In fact, it's something I kind of would like to see on the USDD line in general, because, or actually more, I would like to see it on the gearing to give it some sort of edge, because it's kind of slacking behind or falling behind the other ships in utility at the moment, especially behind the Shimakaze. It would make it more of a direct DD counter than it is right now, which would be nice. But in general, a lot of people have been arguing that the Benson should also have a hydroacoustic, and I honestly disagree with that, because if you give the Benson hydroacoustic search as well, then the Benson would basically be better than the Loyang in every single possible way. There would be no point in the Loyang at all, and I actually kind of like that it has its own little niche right now. In a straight up 1v1 versus Benson, it will probably get absolutely destroyed, or well, not absolutely destroyed, but it would lose the fight, because you have so many options and ways you can build the Benson right now. I'm trying to get my team to move out, by the way. As usual on Domination, you see my Zoom and Colorado, they're both still sitting in spawn. All the other crews are sitting in spawn. I'm already at the cap, so I'm not, if enemy DD show up, I'm not really going to have any backup, which is awful. But I honestly like the way they balance this, basically. Sure, they gave Loyang Hydro, which at first glance seems very OP, but then on the other hand, they reduced all the stats across the board. Guns, health, speed, even speed, yeah, I think, and actually I'm not entirely certain about speed, but torpedoes, basically everything got reduced to make up for it, and I actually kind of like that trade-off. In fact, we've seen a lot of, basically in team ranked and clan wars, we've seen a lot of use of using both Bensons and Loyangs. Loyang for the Hydro, Benson for anti-air and in general better utility. But it has its own little niche right now, which it gets with Hydra. And if you were to give... oh shit, there's a DD here. If you were to give Hydra to every single ship, then there would literally be no point in playing the Loyang anymore. So I think actually Wargaming have succeeded quite well. This Hatsuharu, and I saw Kagero on the right. I'm engaging the Hatsuharu straight away, naturally, closing the distance. Popping Hydra straight away. Not just for the smoke, but in general if there's more torps coming. When you're knife fighting other DDs like this, having Hydra makes life so much easier, because you don't have to worry as much about random torps showing up and forcing you to turn, or basically messing up your aim. Okay, so the Kagero showed up, as expected. Nice, I managed to cap it though, so even if I die now, I've significant contribution. Okay, the Kagero is here. I'm fighting the Kagero while closing the distance with the Hatsuharu. As soon as I see the Hatsuharu is visible on my minimap, like now, oh, even the Kagero smoked, even better. I'm turning away from the Kagero, making myself very hard to hit for him, while at the same time now focusing fully on the Hatsuharu. The Kagero has a pretty awkward shot now. Basically, he's behind me sideways and trying to hit me, which is quite a hard shot to land. Basically has this kind of shot at me, and it's quite hard to land it accurately, especially as I'm turning and wiggling and stuff and making myself hard to hit. It's much easier to hit this kind of shells on USDDs, because you're basically like a machine gun, whereas Japanese DD guns are more like you shoot a full broadside that does a lot of damage, but it has a longer reload. So USDDs are better at tracking maneuvering DDs than Japanese are. Here I use a bit of a trick with the Hydra, in case you didn't notice. I'm smoked up, but because the Hatsuharu is within 3.5 kilometers of me, I'm able to see him while they can't see me. I'm basically using my hydroacoustic search to my advantage here. I smoked myself up, made myself undetectable, but I used my hydro the last few seconds that I had it active to spot him through my own smoke. So that's why I took no damage there at the end. The Kagero couldn't see me, the Hatsuhiro couldn't see me. They were blindly shooting. So that's like one of the tricks, one of the niche tricks you can pull with only this ship and really no other ship. Now I'm gonna see if I can finish him off. I really need to finish him off. I can't leave him alive until I start focusing on the Kagero. Nice, now I can focus on the Kagero. And what I do here is once again, as I said earlier, about sailing away makes you harder to hit. Basically the reason is that his shells have to travel further to catch up to me, as opposed for me shooting backwards. They have to travel a shorter while, so it's much easier for me to consistently land. You see how good my accuracy is, just constantly landing shells on him. I also sent torps, so in case he kills me, my torps will probably finish him off. Well, I killed him before my massive torp volley would have hit him. Managed to kill both DDs, both the Kagero and the Hatsuhiro, and secure the cap for us. We're still behind on points though, because these are random battles, you never know what everyone else is doing. I see an Atago who's sitting somewhere in our base. The rest of my team is only now showing up in A, which gives you a clue of just how brave they are as usual. But that's basically basic random battles. Anyway, what I was saying earlier about the Loyang, I think Wargaming have actually struck a surprisingly good balance here in designing the ship. If they would have made it a straight Benson clone and given it hydro, then it would have been straight up superior to the Benson, which would have been bad. It would have been basically like the Atago right now, which is considerably better than every other cruiser in the game, because it's not only is it very powerful in itself, it also has the heal, which pushes it far surpasses everyone else. But on the Loyang, it seems like they've learned their Atago lesson, so when they give it this hydro, they in turn reduce all of the stats. And I actually quite I like this trade-off of having like this niche ability, this niche gameplay style that costs you something, some overall performance. And I think this is a good trade-off, and I hope like if they go for these special kind of premium ships in the future, I hope they keep up the same design. Because the current situation with the Atago is pretty unfortunate, because it simply is superior to every other ship, which is a shame. Because I don't like to see this game becoming pay to win, and right now in ranked and team ranked, it's very much looking like a lot of pay to win going on. Now I'm using stealth fire, as you can do on all USDDs and such. Basically I'm firing outside of my concealment range, so basically I'm in complete concealment. You can see the massive shell arcs. This is very common on USDDs. Anyone who has played USDDs is familiar with this, but still it's got a good fire rate, and I managed to get a fire on him, and his repair is on cooldown, so if they don't instantly delete him, I will do some significant additional DPS, which is always good. Okay, I'm gonna try to close the distance with B now. There's still a Colorado there. I actually, by the way, I chose this game because I thought there was something of a nightmare situation for a DD. Two carriers on both sides, so massive plane presence, and they had 3 DDs, all which have superior concealment to me, because I don't have a 5-point camo, so my concealment is 6.4 kilometers, meaning the Kageros and the Hatsuharis, they all basically detect me before I detect them. And in general they only have 3 battleships, so there's very little to torp, and these battleships, 2 of them are Colorados, which are quite small and tricky to torp. So I thought this was basically a nightmare situation. Basically no one can say that this is favorable matchmaking to me. Look at all the planes on the map. This is basically a nightmare situation for DD, and I thought this was good to show like how you can still be effective with this Loyang ship, even if matchmaking doesn't exactly favor you. I'm closing as close as I dare, now slowing down. I just got spotted by, I think it might be me shooting that got spotted. And I just start raining down damage on him. I use HE because York has very little HE reduction, if any at all, so I'm able to do significant damage even if I don't get fires. As you can see, it's constant DPS. On someone who's this low HP, it's quite nice. Got my first fire going. He's blind firing into the smoke. Oh, and he's actually being quite accurate, so I'm moving inside the smoke. I have full reverse on to make myself harder to hit. I'm gonna take a break in the shooting to make it hard for him to basically hit me. He repaired the fires. His torps ran out since Germans only have 6 kilometers. I'm gonna see if I can get a last fire on him before he disappears around the corner. Once again I'm moving to make myself hard to hit inside the smoke. Ah, nice. I got the last fire on him just before he ducked around the corner. As you saw, he just used his repair, so that York is now dead, guaranteed. That fire will kill him. There's no way he can there's no way he can prevent it. He's going to die. So there's no reason to shoot at him anymore. I'm just gonna go cap this B for us, because I highly doubt Arizuma will be able to cap. He's too easy to hit and too easy to deny the cap, and they have two carriers as well. And Izuma alone is like a prime target for any carrier. So I wouldn't be surprised if there will soon be a huge flood of planes towards this Izuma. Like, while his plan of going solo to cap B is admirable, in this situation he would have been better off like following the Pensacola. Or well, the Pensacola should probably be there capping, to be honest, but in random battles you sometimes just have to swallow the bullet and follow the cruisers, because the cruisers don't always make the smartest decisions. Now, as I said, both carriers are focusing him, of course. Highly visible Izumo, not known for particularly good maneuverability or anti-air, all alone on a cap point as well. It's guaranteed he's going to be focused now. I have my anti-air, of course, off. I think the default button for this is P. I have it off for now, but if if they look like the planes, I was detected there briefly, so it's possible the planes come back and try to hit me. If that happens, then I will obviously activate my anti-air again. Yeah, okay, that guy. Is he going for me? Looks like he's going for me. I'm turning on my anti-air, focus targeting him, and I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping myself sideways towards the bombers to make myself very hard to hit, because one bomb is enough to kill me right now. You can see the anti-air on the ship isn't bad though. These are Shikaki planes, and I managed to shoot down two, even without any defensive AA. So much like the Benson, these are not that bad at all, or the anti-air isn't that bad at all. Of course, it won't save you. You won't. I mean, you won't be any sort of anti-air beast, and it's not like it's going to magically save you from getting killed. But it can reduce the damage you take quite significantly, even if you don't have defensive AA. And most importantly of all, having some anti-air on a DD is mostly important, because it prevents the enemy CB from just basically hovering a fighter squad on top of you and permanently detecting you. If you have good anti-air, then you'll basically kill them off fairly quickly, even if it takes a while. And the carriers don't really like losing those squads, because it takes very long to get a new squad out. Like, you get a 1.5 minute cooldown or something if you lose a squad completely and have to like relaunch it. So it takes 1.5 minutes plus sending it back to where the DD was. It could have disappeared in that time. So usually they don't bother if they lose that one squad. I generally rarely bother, or well, if someone has a lot of AA, then I have to be a lot more careful in moving my squad around detecting him. So it's very good. Having anti-air on a DD is always a good thing. Now this Kagero, as you saw, he smoked up. I kind of blind shot where he was, so I prevented and delayed the cap quite a bit. I'm a bit careful with shooting now, because oh shit, I got detected. I got plane detected because I fired, so my detection range is increased. Now I'm weaving back and forth, because if he shoots at me, shit, yeah, he saw that Kagero saw me. Now he's stealth firing from the smoke. I have absolutely no option here besides smoking up, because if I had tried to push up without smoking up, the Kagero could just take 3 pot shots at me while the plane was spotting me. I smoked up, so the plane left. It looks like it, well. Thankfully, thanks to Hydro, I activated Hydro again. I see these torps way before they hit, and I need to close the distance. The ideal case now is that the Kagero sits in the smoke waiting for me, and I'll be able to use my Hydro to shoot him without him seeing me. If he, on the other hand, decides to push out of the smoke, then I have to be very quick. I know he's low HP, but so am I. And oh shit, he's pushing out of the smoke. He's got twice my HP. I need to hit him fast. I need to dodge this volley. Nice, I dodged the volley. I should be able to kill him before he reloads. Yes, I killed him before he managed to reload. So that was very close. If that volley had hit me, if I hadn't been able to dodge it, he would have killed me entirely. But luckily managed to dodge it, and thanks to Hydro, the torps aren't really an issue. That's basically one of the key points of basically having Hydro on the Loyang is, even though like compared to Benson you have less firepower and HP and such when fighting Japanese DDs, on the Loyang the torpedoes are basically a non-issue, unless you get so close that you basically cannot avoid them, which you shouldn't do on a Loyang especially. But you give up firepower, but you gain this one consumable, this one niche thing that you can use instead, which is, once again, I like the trade. I like the trade-off. I like playing the Benson, and I like playing the Loyang. They are slightly different, like very similar ships, but still slightly different because of the way that one consumable adds like dimensions to your gameplay. There's some sort of water bug on my left. What the hell is that? Okay then. Okay. I have no idea what that is. But got another cap. If you haven't noticed, I've actually capped all the points for my team. I capped A, then I capped B, and now I capped C. And I basically have had to fight for every single cap point. But I've managed to secure all the caps and will manage to secure the win for my team. I'll see, the Shokaku was up here. I'll see if I can maybe close the distance, but looking at the way the score is ticking down, it's unlikely I will be able to achieve anything before the game ends. Nah, the game is gonna end. The game is definitely gonna end with 3 points. With 3 caps we get so many points. But still, I think my reward should be pretty good for this. Yeah, as expected. Remember, this is a premium ship, of course, so the money I get is very, very, very nice. 660k plus 10k XP, base XP 3.3k. Obviously I didn't do much damage at all, but my actual, like, what was my damage? I'll be surprised if I even broke like 50k. No, not even that. I have like 45k damage. But once again, my goal here wasn't damage, it was winning the game, and I capped 3 points and I mostly shot at DDs or killed DDs, so that's why I got such a huge reward. Alright. As usual, I will start with the modules. Now, I'm not using these torpedoes yet, but I'm very tempted to mount them once I actually get my concealment, because these torpedoes are very, very, very strong. Huge amount of damage and very fast, 68 knots. You lose 3.2 kilometer range, so I'm actually very tempted to use this once I actually got my concealment low enough. I need the 5-point perk though, because at the moment my concealment is only 6.4, but with the 5-point perk you'd actually be able to stealth fire these, which seems very powerful. But I'm not quite there yet, so until I'm there I'm just using the default torpedoes. Of course, premium everything, premium smoke, premium hydroacoustic, and premium damage control. There's really not much point in using defensive AA fire, because Hydra is pretty much the thing that makes this ship special to begin with. If you're gonna use defensive AA, then you might as well just be playing a Benson, because the Benson will be better at everything while still having the defensive AA. So there's honestly not many options here. You go Hydra because that's the niche of this ship. That's what it's special at. Upgrade wise, it's pretty straightforward. Main battery mod, gunfire control. Actually, considering using last stand, I should actually be using damage control here, not propulsion mod. Yep. Once again, these are remnants. This is the remnant spec of before the patch, and I only just noticed that now. And I actually have propulsion mod instead of maneuverability, because the rudder shift time on the ship is insane. It's 2.7. You don't need to reduce that by 20%. Rather, increase the speed at which you slow down and speed up in smokes. I think that's far more important. And finally, of course, concealment. Now, first of all, don't copy my captain perks. This is a mess of captain perks, and that's because I'm currently power leveling this captain for the Loyang, which means I'm using it both on the Anshan and the Loyang at the same time. So I'm using perks that I usually wouldn't use on the Loyang. For example, Advanced Firing Training and Expert Marksman are perks I only use for the Anshan, whereas basically Superintendent is something is only for the Loyang. On the Anshan, I'm pretty sure I'll go Vigilance to be able to avoid torps better. So ultimately, don't copy this spec. This is just a mess because I'm leveling them on both ships, so I get like both first win of the day bonuses on 2 different ships, so I can level it as fast as possible. I got 14 points now. Once I get to 15, I will respec it to a purely Loyang captain, and then I will obviously get Concealment Expert. How would I spec my Loyang though? Situation awareness, absolutely first. Last stand, absolutely second. Superintendent, I'm actually a bit skeptical here. I really like Superintendent though on this ship, because you get 4 smokes and 4 hydros. Vigilance is super strong though, especially considering how much knife fighting you do against other DDs. But usually when I knife fight other DDs I use my hydro. So it's kind of like this is very useful when your Hydra is on cooldown, but when your Hydra is up, Vigilance is basically useless. So I think this one will come down to taste. I'll probably still go Superintendent, be a bit greedy like that, and not have the added safety of Vigilance. We'll see how it works out. Fourth perk, I'll absolutely go Demolition Expert. I know some people prefer to get Survivability Expert, which might... Actually, fuck. This is another one that's a bit tricky because Survivability Expert will probably be very, very strong in ranked battles. Like team ranked and, well, solo ranked in general. I think Survivability will be a lot stronger since DD job there is less about killing and more about capturing points. So... for random battles, Demolition Expert. If you're gonna play this in ranked, team ranked, clan wars, then Survivability. I think those are the two choices. And fifth, there's no discussion, you obviously get Concealment Expert. Once you have Concealment Expert, a point into basic firing training is fantastic, and then the last 2 points into Torpedo Armament. Almost the same as my gearing spec basically. Where's my gearing? Yeah, this is more for random battles. And of course, and then for ranked you go Survivability instead. Anyway, that was my Loyang commentary. I hope you enjoyed it.